right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Legend of the Three Kingdoms. Yes, this is one of my homebrew D&D games set in my weird, messed up homebrew campaign setting, and the people below me are the people that, let's be 100% honest. The Stockholm Syndrome is just set in at this point. So, yeah. Announcements.
I have been in bad DMGM situations. Trust me.
Announcements.
You're adorable.
Something very, very cool is happening. I have written my own RPG system, and by I have written my own RPG system, I mean I made a lasers and feelings hack. It is called Courage and Cuddles. The players take the form of stuffed animals and other kind of sleep aids for children and protect sleeping children from nightmares. I'm very proud of it, and this Saturday, we are actually going to be playing it live on the Zelda Universe Twitch channel as our first of our one-shot adventures that we're going to be doing in between the end of Campaign 1 and the start of Campaign 2 for Realms of the Wild. So, 9 a.m. Pacific time is when we go live. And yeah, it should be fun. I've run another Lasers and Feelings hack on this channel. Not this past December, but the one before, called Library Cats. And they are massively fun.
Yeah.
They're great systems. Scott, did you play in that one with me, or?
Yeah, I would.
Scott was there. Chax and Venus from my other Wednesday night game were in it too. Daniel, were you in it too? I can't remember.
I don't believe so.
Okay. But anyway, they're super, super fun. They're great for new players or like seasoned role players alike. They're just fun. Little one-shot games to run. They're very, very rules light. You actually build your characters right at the beginning of each session, and it generally takes less than 5 minutes to build your characters. It's great. So, I may attempt to find a way to publish it somehow. I don't know how yet, and I would need, because right now I just have like this really ugly looking PDF that I made for it, and I would need to talk to someone to make it look a little bit nicer and fit into one page. Because right now it's like 2.5, but an RPG system that only takes 2.5 pages is still pretty nice. So anyway, everybody tune into that. I'm super excited. I've been working on this system for like 1.5 years. Since
I remember you talking about it.
Library Cats. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm trying to think if there's anything else big. Hopefully after I'm done running this, a new Essence 20 book came out. It's a new Power Rangers source book. I will hopefully have an in-depth review for that coming up on my channel probably tomorrow, because it will be very late when I get done with this. But check that out, youtube.com/JojoTrainerJody. Otherwise, I think it's time for us to return to the Legend of the Three Kingdoms. The party has been exploring this domain of danger. Around every corner, a new trap seems to be hidden. Floors may not be what they seem. Walls seem to be hiding countless numbers of hidden passages. The most recent find after dealing with multiple trap rooms that spew This room is extremely rectangular, right angles in all the corners, a flat tiled floor. As one of the party stepped into it, they immediately felt their stomach drop as gravity reversed itself, and they fell onto the ceiling, which is covered in stalactites with pointed tips. And then they fell back to the floor, taking damage and also finding that the stalactites on the roof have some sort of magical disease on them that causes wounds to fester immediately. Now the party must figure out what to do about this room, whether or not they want to continue exploring it or not.
There was also an incident with some tents that may or may not be canonical.
Forgot about the tents.
I didn't.
Yes,
Wrote on here, the tent incident.
we found out that Vala collects tents. Had 100
I mean-
pounds of tents.
I was a little disappointed when I signed in this image and nobody reacted.
I completely, my brain had just memory.
They didn't
holed
even
that
register.
entire
Yeah, I'll be
thing.
honest.
So, what do y'all want to do? So, directly before we did this, Vala had kind of gone into the room and taken a few steps, and then come back, and I can't remember. I don't think it activated a second time, or it activated a second time right as you were stepping out, or something like that.
I think Vala got out before it activated a second
Yeah.
time.
So yeah, as
Correct.
far as you guys know, the trap has not activated again.
Right. I think I've tried throwing a tent in.
Yeah.
I think I tried throwing a crowbar. Nothing else seems to have activated it yet.
So
And I think we did detect magic, and like the whole area was permutated.
it seems there aren't runes or anything in here. It seems the entire room itself is infected with this magical trap or whatever it is.
Hmm. Well, this is some of the worst trap magic I've ever seen. It doesn't seem like the kind of thing we should be experimenting around with too much, especially with the disease. Hmm.
Well, I'm wondering if we can't ascertain if we can tell the differences in the tiles. Do they look differently at all? The tiles they all look the same across the board, just like as they appear on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, there's differences in color, but there's nothing that would indicate like a pattern or anything. It's just like kind of like it has kind of a marble look to it, where there's an obvious pattern, but it's not like it's a naturally occurring pattern, if that makes sense.
A marble pattern.
Yeah. There's nothing geometric or predictive about it. It's just there's some different colors in there.
Okay. I looked up at the ceiling, and we could see that it was covered in stalactites. There didn't seem to be anything unique about them. They're definitely artificial and made to look fake, like most of this place. Fabrication seems to be the word of the day for this place. I'm curious about what we would be doing in here. Like, what would the goal be? If we can't ascertain the pattern, no doors seem. Although I'm sure there is a door here, but there could also very much be that could be the other sick, twisted joke.
I don't know why you guys assume this is a sick, twisted joke. I don't think there's anything that you've seen thus far that would support that assumption.
No, whoever built this place thinks he's much cleverer than everyone else, and he wants to prove that. So what's the dumbest way we can solve this puzzle?
Fire. No, I'm kidding.
While we're doing this, I'm going to use Mage Hand to start dragging my things back in.
Say that tent, that 100-pound tent's a little bit too heavy for you.
It was a 200-pound tent.
A 200-pound tent, sorry.
Apparently, the frame's made of dark matter or something. Sturdy.
Look, when you have as many stalkers as I do, having a lead-lined tent can be beneficial.
And can it really count as camping if you don't bring your granite countertops with you? I mean,
I have climbing gear. We could try anchoring ourselves to the floor and going out there. My other thought, I'm just also trying to think of any arcane nonsense I can bring to this. I mean, I could polymorph into something that can fly.
Yeah.
Provided the room lets you.
I mean, it hasn't seemed to block any of the magic that we've been using.
Well, so far.
We could also try magical means of moving around the room, but, I don't want a dimension door on the other side and then all of a sudden have gravity flip on me without being able to hammer in on anything.
And I'm trying to approach it from people do come down here. Surely they would have some way of navigating this if they came down here. But then again, it depends how. Maybe there are certain areas they're not supposed to go.
Yeah.
Could also just be a literal dead end.
Well, again, it means do we want to try to see if there's just something to break in this room? We're hoping there's going to be another door somewhere.
Right. Yes, because I used locate object to find the weight to find the last door. Because that was the closest one to me. We could go into the other room and try casting it, seeing if there's another door closer. Or we could just try moving all the walls in that other room.
Well, when you used it, that was the closest one. Yes.
That was the closest one to where I.
Is that how the spell worked
when I cast it? Yes.
And the spell only works that way. Yes, it only locates the one closest. It doesn't acknowledge any others.
Since I'm looking for a type of object, yes.
yeah.
Okay.
The official way I've been interpreting it is because it says it finds the closest version of that object, and if If there's multiple, it randomly picks one because it won't. Like if there's like 2 or 3 that are both the same distance away, you're still only going to locate an object, and
Right.
so it just.
So
becomes
hypothetically, I don't think we would find another one unless there was an equidistance issue.
Yeah.
Well, this was the closest one to where I was standing. So if I were to stand further towards that, to the north, then if there was another one closer than that, I would tell where it was. Casting it where I am right now at the entrance to this room would be pointless because there's not another. The odds of the secret door being within less
Well,
than.
where were you last time
15
you
feet.
cast it?
I was, I think here, or thereabouts,
And you're wanting to go further south?
or north up into this room here.
Yeah.
See if there's
Well,
a door
it's-
there.
You know, it's not very much farther.
It's not, but if there's a door in that room, or we could just go try and tap on all the walls since we know how they open. But casting locate object right here is
Oh, yes.
probably.
Yeah, I know.
Unless.
Hypothetically, if we altered the weight enough, would that discount it as one of the items? Like, say,
I mean, we could just.
like, say, if you marked it.
I mean, if we got close enough, we could just take it and throw it in the bag of holding, and it would no longer be there. But it took me quite some time to dig through the wall to get to it.
I would say if you want an answer to that question, Rowan, that would be an Arcana check.
Here we're not. I didn't do any of my preemptive rolls, so yep, that's a 6.
Yeah,
I'm-
you're not really sure because theoretically you're looking for an object, and simply damaging an object doesn't stop it from being that object. Like if you crash a car, it's still a car.
Alternatively, we could replace the maker's mark on his weights with dicks and just piss him off enough until he shows himself.
Oh no.
Just scrawling dick butts everywhere.
Yeah.
Whatever works for you, you know.
Okay, sir.
I mean, it is a
Well-
novel idea. Instead of navigating the dungeon to get to the big baddie, you just piss off the big baddie enough to get him to navigate it.
Again, there's that bleed from Big Bad to DM. Like, I worked a really long time on this place. I don't appreciate what you guys are doing down here.
I enjoy it if you guys find interesting ways to defeat my puzzles. Again, once I've known a group and I've been playing with a group long enough, I stop coming up with solutions to the puzzles I make because nothing I come up with is you guys are going to use it at all. Like I cannot tell you how many times I've come up with really unique solutions to puzzles and you guys have just gone a completely different direction. I'm like, but this is super cool. Like there was a thing and like this word would trigger this, but then if you read it in a different way and there was like double entendre built into it and nope. Fire just fixes everything.
Hey, I've not tried burning the ceiling here.
Yeah, baby.
Who knows?
Baby.
Well, I mean, fire does have a tendency to sterilize, but this is a magical disease, so
I mean, it's magical.
I get like
fire.
Relwyn gives the piece he pulled out of you. It was like, does it seem flammable?
well, this.
Yeah, what way to find out?
No, I'm asking.
So, I'm assuming it's like a metal.
The
The steel it was attached to was metal. It's like this was like a rocky fabricated
It's a mineral.
tip thing that broke off. Mineral.
It's a mineral. just to avoid having to make you guys roll, something that would be affected by what's the spell? Is it Shape Rock? Shape Earth?
Shape Rock can do it. Fabricate.
But anyway, or Move Earth, whatever it is. It's how they were able to wrap this rock around it, but it's minerals. It's rocks basically.
Okay.
That's
So-
somehow
so
that's I believe was somehow chemical treated to speed up.
Yeah.
So it is a
Yeah.
inorganic compound,
Mm-hmm.
likely not able to be sterilized by fire, versus an organic bacteria or disease.
Yeah. The comparison I made in the last game, I think it was arsenic.
Yeah.
The rock itself is relatively porous, so if you want to try and set it on fire, you can. I mean, you have plenty of ways to do it.
I'm just. So then, when we eventually walk into the room and get flung into the debris, there's a chance it wouldn't start killing us right away.
Well, first I would presume we're going to try tying just one person off.
Yeah.
I mean, does anyone have a UTV spell?
Sorry, what spell?
Cure disease. I have cure wounds.
You guys got to find you a paladin.
I also have cure wounds.
I believe diseases can be cured by lesser restoration. See, lesser or greater.
The are you? There you are. Because it does remove the poison, the poison condition.
Yeah.
That's
If
how
it
I
doesn't-
was able.
If it doesn't
I've done it before.
specifically list disease on lesser, I'll almost guarantee it does on greater. Off the top of my head, I can't remember which, but
It doesn't list it on. It does not list it on lesser.
I mean, could we
No.
use something like that to stabilize?
The first line of lesser, it says one disease or one condition, and then it specifies
Oh, it
the
does.
condition.
Does it
Yeah.
list-
that's what I thought.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I looked right. I was looking at the other half. I was looking at the conditions.
So, I mean, theoretically, the way that you cure, like, there isn't a cure disease spell in 5th edition. It's all under
Oh,
it's all under the lesser restoration banner. A lot of the kind of more specialized cure spells from previous editions, they just got rid of and put them all under lesser restoration, because that's effectively what people used it for anyways. So yes, you guys do have the ability to cure diseases and stuff like that.
I mean, I could just start whipping out Eldritch Blasts into the room and trying to break up the material on the ceiling, but then that would just make the diseases airborne. And
Was
may-
that why I was with the restoration spell was stabilized?
I mean, it would. I think it would sterilize one of us. I don't know if you can cast it on a room.
Well,
I don't
I
know,
was thinking about casting it on the rainbow.
But then again, I only have 5th level spells, so maybe that's like an advanced paladin core.
I'm a fan of
You want me to
aerosolizing-
conjure Celestial?
I'm a fan of aerosolizing the thing that almost killed you before. So, if I get a vote in this, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, if you want me to use an 8th level spell and you want me to use Sunburst,
I'm
Sunlight
not.
is the greatest disinfectant.
Right.
God, don't go down that road. Don't.
I'm so sorry, but it was too perfect.
Jesus.
What does anyone have alcohol? This is what
I mean, if you drink enough alcohol, you just become immune to
Just
diseases
get the room drunk.
and fall
That's
damage.
what we can do. Jody, why don't you come up with solutions to any of your puzzles anymore? Because I would never think to get the room drunk. That's why. It's not something that would ever cross my mind. When I'm writing this stuff, no, never would think about that.
I yeah, I my only idea would be to prestidigitate, polymorph myself into something that can fly, and possibly carry another person and just fly around the edges of the room.
We don't know what we're looking for.
We don't know what we're looking for. How? The wall. How? Is it very like smooth?
Very, yeah, even more so than, like, the rest of the walls have been somewhat smooth, but, you know, still cave-like in appearance. These are very, very smooth to the point where there's no handholds on them. For some weird reason that you can't fathom.
Are we talking like a very like mirror like
Not quite
very smooth?
Not quite mirror. Like, there's still some, like, bumps and ridges to it, but none of them are pronounced enough that you could get any sort of a handhold.
I could not get any sort of handhold.
It's not perfectly smooth, but like work stone.
Kind of. It's still obviously meant to look like natural cave walls. But again, they're
You can only make them look so natural when they're smooth.
it's you know, it's that same thing. There are smooth walls in caves, but the fact
Well, yeah.
that these are not only smooth but also perfectly vertical. And
Perfectly
ending
vertical,
right up.
uniform.
Like,
yeah.
it's pretty
Yeah.
obvious that the intention was to make them look natural, and they just failed here. Like, there isn't a way to make this look natural.
Or someone had to work with someone else's asinine instructions.
Possibly.
Like, make it look natural but uniform and straight and vertical. Just like swipe, new drawing, new
and then
new
I was
layout
thinking,
sketch.
like, eggshell, but not really eggshell. Like, maybe like a blue but eggshell is a shade of white. I know, I want it to be eggshell, but maybe not like all the way eggshell. Like, maybe like eggshell adjacent. So what color? Well, eggshell, but not. So salmon. No. That's completely.
So what are we doing? I really don't want to waste the entire episode.
I'm having
Right.
fun listening to you guys try.
Yeah, glad. Good.
Well, no, I'm just thinking. So if I were to turn myself into, say, I don't know, a giant spider or an octopus, would it be able to cling on to the wall, even if gravity is shifting
Make me a nature
around?
check.
Oh, excellent. 'Cause
Good thing you're a bard.
how do I have +4 in nature? 14.
So your understanding of both spiders and octopi. Octopi use literal suctions to do it. So the wall itself is slightly porous because it's rock. But you don't think it's porous enough that you would be unable to form suction on it, and therefore you think an octopus could climb up a wall. It would be slow going because octopi are only really fast when they're underwater.
Right.
When they're on land, they're still remarkably fast for what people expect of them. But it would be slow going against gravity and other things like that. And if the gravity were to change randomly, it would probably cause issues. You think it's theoretically possible for a
Gecko.
Yeah, a gecko works kind of similarly, where it does work on a suction thing. Spiders and other insects like that are able to actually hook onto like little kind of micro fractures and things like that.
Yep.
So with a giant spider, you think it theoretically might be able to climb up the walls, but with how smooth they are, you think it also, if gravity were to shift, there'd be a possibility it could lose its grip when the gravity shifts. But both of them could theoretically work, just the gravity aspects, the octopus is going to be a little bit safer than the spider.
The octopus would be safer.
Yeah, it suction is going to hold you better than clinging to little microfractures when gravity shifts, because suction doesn't matter which way gravity is pulling it, where the micro things, if you're climbing and then gravity just, like all of your pressures like this, and then gravity makes it so that your pressure needs to be down here, well, there's nothing holding it down here, and so you would have to readjust your grip. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Okay.
So, I will. So, guys, I have a crazy, stupid idea. I could just turn myself into a giant octopus and just crawl along the walls and carry somebody with me.
And then
That person could investigate and see if there's a door in here.
Yeah. I can't think of anything else that might work.
I don't know how many times you can do that. Can your psychometry thing that you do, Liane?
I can do that as well.
See if this room has.
I don't know.
But that'll be about my bad feelings and the evil past.
Maybe this room was abusive to, its room girlfriend. Find out about that, or maybe it used to cheat at room cards.
Only one of us knew feng shui. We could get to the bottom of the psychology of this room.
I don't
The
know
cycle
much
of room
about.
abuse.
You know, I knew it didn't happen.
I don't know much about. If you were to damage the tile enough, would it be rendered inert or would it keep going?
It depends.
Roland's going
on,
to post it to someone who might actually know Arcana because he sure as hell doesn't know.
I mean, I'm assuming.
Val, if
Wherever this in,
if you want to really consider that question, if you want to make an Arcana check, you can.
14.
14. So, I mean, going off of the properties of how kind of magic works in general, kind of what it looks like here is if a magic spell is cast upon an object, if you cast it enough times on that object over a long enough period of time, the object just absorbs that magical effect. If the object is then destroyed, the magical effect could theoretically dissipate and no longer be attached to it. Like a building that has been warded against divination magic. Well, if you blow the building up, that area isn't warded against divination magic because the spell was cast on the building. However, the amount of damage needed to do in order to negate a magical effect that's been absorbed into a building is extensive. Like, again, removing some flagstones from, the floor of a keep that's warded against divination magic is not going to make it stop. You have to destroy most of the keep or make real big holes in the roof or something.
This make an interesting point about. Does anyone have anything like shape earth or shape stone or something like that? Something along that line?
I do not. I don't think I.
You do not.
You know what?
I know shatter. That's a lot of shattering.
What spells are you guys looking for?
Shape earth.
Well, something along that line that could, like, hypothetically, maybe a shape earth or something else that could, like, do something to stone or something that could potentially mar the area, but not that maybe it would hypothetically disrupt the magical effect.
I have mold earth. I have mold earth, but that's only useful in dirt.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys activate the trap enough times, you could be pulverized into dirt and then move into various shapes.
I mean, I could just like start taking out my tent stakes. I don't know. I mean, either we can. I mean, do we want to try looking around the room, seeing if we find anything, or? I mean, I could try to seduce the room.
Yeah, no, you guys haven't tried to, you know, screw anything into submission.
It's a personal failure of mine as a bard.
Yeah. One of my first D&D games I ever played, we had this dude that it was 4th edition, he was playing a Dragonborn Paladin, but he was an atheist, and he didn't like the idea of gods at all, and so his character needed to be an atheist as well, and we tried to tell him that's not how paladins work, and that's also not how gods work in D&D. Like, they're real. They're not like people theorizing or praying and hoping that it's real. No, they actually came to Earth or to Faerun a few times. Like, there's obvious proof of it. Whatever, he's an atheist paladin, Dragonborn Paladin, and we got into this one thing, and he kept trying to seduce everything and failing because charisma was his higher stat, and he just rolled like shit. So eventually he's getting so mad that he hasn't been able to screw anything that we get to this dungeon, and there's this red carpet. He's like, screw it, I'm going to fuck the carpet. And he rolled really high, and I think he got like a nat 20 on it. And all the rest of us at the table are going, this is not the kind of game we want to play. And then the dungeon master goes, well, I mean, there is a benefit. And he goes, what? He said, well, there is a pressure plate underneath the carpet that is now gummed up and useless. So if anyone wants to try and I mean, in my experience in Dungeons and Dragons, there is precedent. It's bad precedent, but I will never forget that session. By the way, if you're ever playing with people and you decide that your character has to screw something, maybe ask the rest of the people playing with you if it's okay for your character to be so sex crazed that it starts fucking inanimate objects. I mean, it's just consent is sexy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, I don't know if this is an idea or not.
Hypothetically, can we not talk about screwing inanimate objects? Sorry, what were you saying?
I would just like to be out of this goddamn room. Just to see if anything happens if I disrupt the room. We know there's that one square. I don't know if it's active yet or not.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if I cast thaumaturgy on it and I cause a harmless tremor in the ground? Like basically, I'm taking the plate and it's causing a tremor.
Interesting.
I don't know what that does to a pressure plate situation, whether it's
Well,
mechanical or magical.
you guys haven't seen any sort of pressure plates or anything like that. Like the tiles in here don't seem to have anything underneath them. But if you want to try doing it, as you cast thaumaturgy and you kind of make these harmless tremors go through, nothing seems to happen. I mean, the tremors happen, but they don't seem to trigger any thing.
We have had the idea of female farmers and their baby. A bit, but it was really going circles.
Um. Yeah. I think polymorph. At least I can try looking around the room, seeing if I see anything. I will remove the rope from my pack
Okay.
and hand that to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will cast polymorph and turn into a giant octopus.
Are we tying the rope to you?
I think so.
I will say,
Okay.
I believe a giant octopus is a large creature.
It is, which would mean I'd have to be in the room when I cast it.
Yeah,
Would
So-
you? Because octopuses are weird, so I don't know if that applies.
I will say it is large enough that you would not be able to transform in the hallway because there's just not enough room. A creature that normally takes up a 10-foot cube can't fit into a 5-foot cube easily, even with how kind of malleable octopi are. I will kind of say no on that.
Then I will turn into a regular octopus.
Okay. That is no problem.
Okay. Which means I have 3 hit points. But I'm small. I'm light. This will make it easier for me to hang on to things.
So, are you having someone hold on to them?
Yep. You just see the little octopus gesture up at the rope. And she will
We'll take it.
use
one of the tentacles to grab onto the rope, and then we'll start scurrying along the wall.
I would suggest multiple members hold on to the rope, because if you do get hurt and you transform and then you change, you're going to get jerked up very quickly as a heavy person.
So
You get a tentacle up.
So as whoever else wants to hold onto the rope, as you guys all hold on to it, and you watch as Vala gets into the room at first, Vala, you immediately feel that strange feeling of gravity just flipping on you. I need a strength athletics check.
Does the rope help?
No, because this is just seeing if Vala can stick to the ground.
Mm.
So the rope isn't being pulled taut or anything.
Oh, are you going? I thought you were like going for the wall.
Well, to get in, she first has to get into the room itself and then start crawling on things.
Yeah.
Oh, so of course this is going to be a strength check.
If you can come up with a reason how gripping onto something is any other check, you're welcome to make that argument.
I got a 3. Because an octopus has a strength of 4.
Oh.
And you guys watch as the octopus goes up And as it gets close, because the roof itself is 50 feet tall, if I remember correctly.
That
So
sounds right.
if as you go up about 40-ish feet, suddenly, tong, you just stop in midair. It's uncomfortable, especially since you're because your body has no bones or anything in it. You're basically kind of squished, and you actually start kind of falling out of the or no, you're actually holding on to. You're not tied to it. You're actually holding on. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought we were still time, but I didn't know.
in that
I
case,
believe Vala just said she was grabbing on
Yeah.
to the.
In that case, I need another strength athletics check to see if you can hold on to the rope.
It's not a natural one,
I mean, that's
but
nice.
I rolled a 4 minus 3, so it is 1.
You go up, pow! You hit the roof.
I want to ask this question. I mean this in all seriousness.
Mhm.
Being so tiny in the stalactite, are they like very closely together, or are they like stalactites actually are, and they're like spaced out?
They're spaced out enough that if you fall, you probably won't get pierced by more than 1 or 2.
Well, so I'm wondering because she's so small. I'm actually wondering if does she actually get impaled on one or not?
That is actually a good question.
Because I'm
'Cause I
very
think
tiny.
it's-
I'm
I
very
think it's-
small.
I think it's very possible that you could miss one of the stalactites without too much difficulty. So choose even or odd, Vavala.
Odd.
I don't know if dexterity applies this or not.
Unfortunately, sping, you get hit by you get hit by the stalactite.
Can we at least for flavor say that I used a reaction to release an ink cloud,
Sure,
even though it's
absolutely.
technically an action?
That's perfectly
that
fine.
way-
I'm good with that.
I could feel this was at least worth something.
So as you go up and you get kind of skewered, you guys just watch as it goes up and slips off the rope. You see this, and you just see this explosion of ink up there that covers everything. You don't really realize what's happened as you take a total of 23 points of damage as you hit the roof.
So 3 of that goes to your octopus.
So
And then-
3 of that goes to the octopus,
Yep.
and then the other 20. Does that carry over to me?
Yep.
I know in wild shape it does.
Polymorph works the same way.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Huzzah.
how we're practically gods worked.
That
Or
she was
no,
wild
that was
shaped
wild
into that.
shaped, Yeah.
She was wild shaped into that.
Yeah, well, the same thing though.
But yeah,
Yeah.
same basic
Yeah.
principle. And then, as you guys can just see,
Yeah.
Vala, because it happens so quickly and the ink release happens quickly as well, as you change back, you get hit in the face with all of the ink that you just released. And so you guys still can't actually see Vala. You just see this big black spot up there. And then the gravity shifts again. And you watch as Vala comes down, splat, takes another 22 points of bludgeoning damage. And you all get a little kind of freckles of ink as she splats to the ground.
Ow.
However, now that you're in the room, if you wanted to go giant octopus, you could.
I'm going to presume if you tie the rope around yourself and then you transform, the rope will be tied to cord. It won't like strangle you to death.
It can cause issues, but tying a rope around a creature after
What if you tied like, what if you tied like the rope around your arm and then you transformed, or a leg?
Technically any gear that doesn't get absorbed into the form drops to the ground. As far as polymorph rules go, but tying a rope around an animal is not a difficult process that would even require a roll. So
Okay.
if you want to tie a rope around an octopus or something, you can all do that without difficulty.
Even though we're not in the room,
Vala is now
I mean,
a giant
you can be in the
octopus.
doorway and tie it without having to step into the room. Like again, as long as she's right next to the doorway.
Yeah, alright. I did was it the all fall in the room.
Because the gravity is literally just change directions of it. It's not like it swings or anything. There's no lateral movement. It's just
Alright.
boom, boom.
So Vala is now a giant octopus,
Okay.
and I am now bereft of 4th level spells.
Okay.
She holds out a tentacle and puts it into the hallway if somebody would like to tie the rope.
Can we tie it, or is this going to involve a check?
No. Time.
Okay.
Again, you guys are competent enough that you can tie it.
Yeah. Are we?
Do you want to roll? Like
No,
won't
I don't,
stop
but,
you
like-
from rolling.
I don't, but that comment was. I think we've just demonstrated otherwise.
No, I'm fine if you want to tie. I was more expecting you guys to tie it around the body, because theoretically tying it around a tapering tentacle, it can still slip off. But it's up to you
Yeah,
guys.
I was
I mean-
thinking body too.
Well, but I'm also okay. So, Volapus grabs the rope.
It's not the worst name.
Octaraven grabs the rope, passes it from tentacle to tentacle, brings it around.
Octobard. It's the Octodad D&D.
Octobard.
Let's say tying it around a large creature takes up about 10 feet of the rope.
Does anyone have? We also could have multiple rope. Do we have multiple
you guys
rope?
can tie more rope onto it.
See, I'm actually geared.
Any-
I'm not geared out like that. But
I was gonna say anyone that has any kind of pack, all packs come with 50 feet of rope. So
Yeah.
not all of them.
almost all of them. So I would say to make things simpler, most of you probably have 50 feet of rope on you.
Okay.
So if you guys want to tie it so you can have more, you are welcome to do that.
That
Just
way,
tell
when the
me how
trap
many
goes,
ropes you guys are tying together, so I know what the upper limit is.
this way, when the trap goes off again, I can pull everybody into the room at the same
Preferably.
time.
Yeah, I'll add on my rope.
Okay.
So there, 2 at least.
So you now have about 90 feet of movement before the rope is completely taut. Technically, probably closer to 85 to give them enough that they can hold on to.
I am also, while they're doing that, I am going to take a 6 seconds and release ink across the room,
Okay.
the floor. My idea is I want to cover a swath of it,
Okay.
so that way the next time the trap goes off, I want to see, is it localized to where the person is, or is it the entire room
Okay.
gonna go off? So
Yeah. Yeah, whatever the maximum distance you can squirt ink is, you do.
yeah, I mean it says a 20-foot radius cloud,
So yeah,
which
basically everything
if
within
it's underwater.
everything within 20 feet of you now has ink on it.
Excellent.
Including
I'll say Vala is familiar enough with how octopi work that she's able to avoid inking her friends. Unless you
All right.
want to be covered in ink.
You don't know me.
I'm not gonna shame anyone. You know, whatever your thing is.
All right, with that, Vala will start moving clockwise. So she's gonna no, counterclockwise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wunderschön.
I'm heading east along the wall, tapping on the wall, trying to see if there's any secret
And by
doors.
along the wall, are you going to actually try to climb onto the wall, or are you going to be on the floor?
I'm
moving?
going to attempt to be crawling on the wall.
Okay. So, does an octopus have a climb speed?
An octopus does not have a
Okay.
climb speed. It
Just
has a
checking.
10-foot speed, or 10-foot speed, 60-foot swim.
Okay. So, I just need an athletics check for the climb, and with your suction, I will give you advantage on it.
Yeah, it's always those things about D&D. They don't always incorporate nature directly over into their system. Like some animals don't get dark vision.
Right.
Octopi generally don't climb walls when they're out of the water. Like, it's not a really common thing unless you're throwing them on walls and then
Right.
watching them kind of just stick on their way down.
No, this makes sense. All right, and I don't get Vala's training in acrobatics.
No, and
Her
this
proficiency.
is athletics anyways, so
Oh, okay.
yeah, climbing checks are strength athletics.
I am good with that because I have a +3 in strength now.
And you have advantage.
Thank God.
And plus, you have a 15-foot reach.
Okay. The 13.
13.
It's much
13's good enough.
better.
So as you kind of climb onto the wall itself, again, climbing along the wall feels very weird to you. Not just from the fact that you are kind of walking perpendicular to gravity, which is a strange feeling, but also the wall itself, every so often as you're going, the wall will kind of shift underneath you a little bit, almost as if there's something behind the wall that the wall's just kind of adhered to, and the additional weight of the octopus is kind of shifting it a little bit. Nothing enough that you feel unsteady, but it's a very strange feeling as you very slowly
Nothing-
kind of go along the wall.
Nothing door-like.
Not that you've seen thus far. Go ahead and put your token in the room and just
Okay.
grow it up to large size. And,
Can I make it large?
yeah,
I
if
don't
you click on it, or I can make it large for you.
Yeah, I don't have. There we go.
There we go.
So yeah, I'll just start moving along,
Okay.
and kind of, especially as I see I feel the shifting. I want to try to see if there's any doors hidden anywhere here.
Go ahead and make me investigation checks with advantage, or just an investigation check with advantage, and that
Okay.
you would still use Vala's because you keep your mental attributes.
That's
Uh,
wild shape,
Is that what?
Yeah, I was-
Do you not do that with polymorph?
not polymorph.
Oh,
I don't think with polymorph I get to keep that, so it would just
you'll
be.
still keep the advantage.
I will still keep the advantage. I'm very thankful for that.
I'm
'Cause,
curious, how smart are you as a giant octopus?
I know
Minus
in nature,
3 is my intellect check.
That is 100% false because octopi are
They are
crazy
scary smart.
intelligent.
Yes.
I think Wizards of the Coast needs to do some more, research on how octopi work.
All right. Thank God for advantage. I rolled a 19
19, which brings it
and
down
a
to
1,
16.
so brings it down to 16.
So as you're going, you don't notice anything really noticeable until you get to the very corner over here. And the southern wall of this corner shifts in a way different than everything else has shifted thus far.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna get into this corner.
Mm-hmm.
And and something is shifting differently. Can I try to open the door? Assuming this is a
Again,
door.
because you understand how the doors work, it won't be particularly difficult. But by opening the door, there's a chance you'll fall. Is the only kind of predicament you're going to run into.
As in
Give it-
that could activate the.
No, because
Or-
the whole thing is going to kind of shift rather quickly. The very, very quick thing just is disorienting enough that you'll
But
make a strength save.
Even if she's like holding on to one section of the wall and pushing against that portion of the wall, she's gonna fall.
Because of how the door works, generally the way that you guys open it is you actually have to push it from where it is. There's no way to be next to it and have enough leverage to push it without being right there. All right, no, you're a large creature. Never mind.
I am a large creature.
Large creature,
That's
15-foot reach. That's the reason I was curious.
No. Ignore what I'm saying. Yeah, you can open the door.
Okay.
And now we get to see if this wants to work.
Followpuss is large and in charge.
All right, so I think you should be able to see more, right?
You see 2 squares.
Two squares, yeah.
I can.
So you can see it, and it opens up, and you can see it goes about 10 feet and then makes a right turn. But there is another passage.
Okay. I
As far
will.
The entire time you've been in here, the gravity effect hasn't happened again.
But I've not been touching the floor.
You have not.
So there's nothing. I have a rope tied around me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, if you're large creature but you're squishy, if you go into the room and you basically just fill up the round, would we pull you back out?
I will look back to see, is there anybody who is like, is there a head sticking out of the hallway or no?
I will posit that to the party. Is anyone?
I'll be
sticking
fair.
their
I
head?
was next. I was the next in line when we were pulling her in. I don't think it went off, but he's not stepping on anything, and he's holding onto the rope
Are you sticking your head in, or are you just holding onto the rope?
while holding onto the rope. And I will like
Okay.
try and get a view if I can see.
So yeah, you see Rowan's head kind of poking out a little bit. Doesn't go very far.
I will kind of like shift up the wall a little bit and then take a tentacle or two and point, and then like woo, woo, to gesture that there is a doorway here.
I mean, I'm presuming I can see there's a discrepancy in the wall. There would be a door, but
Well, from the angle that you're at, you wouldn't be able to see the door.
well, I mean, her tentacle going in.
But yeah, you would see her tentacle go through where the wall should be.
Okay, well, I'm hoping you can go in there and you're going to be strong enough to hold us in.
I will attempt. As a giant octopus, can I stuff myself through the doorway? Or
You the rules for squeezing in 5th edition are basically you can get to a place that's basically one size smaller than you.
okay,
So you can squeeze in there, and that just means everything is difficult terrain. So your
Okay.
10-foot movement speed turns into 5-foot, and you have disadvantage on attacks against you have advantage. You have disadvantage on saving throws, stuff like that.
okay.
But you can
I'm going to squeeze in and hold very tightly,
Mm-hmm.
anticipating that there's going to be a trap that is going to try to push me back into this room.
Okay.
I'm going to wait like a full minute.
Nothing happens in that minute.
Drop polymorph.
Okay. Oh, it helps if I actually have the right thing.
I just see the rope go.
Yeah.
You're alive?
Yes. There's a very small hallway here.
Are you sure you're alive? You're alone.
As far as I know,
In your
I'm
Vala.
alive.
What
and I'm
now?
separated from the party. This is my natural element. I will take out a piton
Mm-hmm.
and my hammer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to hammer the piton into the wall, make sure it's nice and secure, and then I'm going to tie the rope off to the piton.
As you hammer it into the wall a bit, it eventually goes "Tink," and it hits against something too solid for it to go into, and it's not quite deep enough that you feel that it would be able to support anyone's weight.
Huzzah. I will yell back, okay, so that plan didn't work. I can, when I was on the wall, I never felt gravity shift.
No, you didn't.
So I'm yelling that out to
Oh,
them.
sorry.
No, that's okay. So I think you have to be walking in order for it to shift, maybe, or because it had just gone off, it didn't want to go off again. I think if we could somehow, I would like to think that if we could somehow anchor this rope, then somebody could use that to crawl across, and at the very least, if the trap does hit again, they would have something to hang on to. But I can't anchor anything over here, so we would just be dependent upon my very poor strength to hold this rope.
And also, your plan seems to rely on all of us being strong.
Some of us.
How are you doing it? Can you do it more well?
I mean, I can do some more spells. Depending on what they are. I have a 5th level spell slot left.
I mean, could you probably more one of us and we take everyone out? And
We had the same problem as trying to get into the room and setting off the
Right.
setting off the traps.
I mean, I could polymorph myself into a giant ape. I think that would be able to hold the rope better than I can.
I mean that and I mean
Then it, well, now that we know where the door is,
The issue is
Man.
trying to figure out how we can get over there, and I don't think we've actually solved any problems
I mean,
aside from establishing that there's a door.
I mean, this is how we get out past this room.
wait a second.
We just need to get one person over here. Maybe.
Possibly.
I have a brilliant idea.
I mean,
There's no way this idea can go wrong.
I can get over there fairly easily.
Okay.
alright.
No, my plan could go very wrong, but
Uh,
I mean
that is-
what is that?
so Argenta's here, right, Jody?
Yes.
I'll step into the ethereal plane
Okay.
as a bonus action.
All right.
And I'm not going to go through walls. I'm just quite literally on the ethereal plane going to follow this path. End up behind Vala.
Shit.
Why did I
While you're on the ethereal plane, remind me, can you interact with anything on the material plane?
I can see it, but I cannot interact with it.
Okay. Then
Yeah, because you're like on it's like you're on a parallel plane, right?
Yeah.
the ethereal plane sits right on top of the
Yeah.
prime material. So as you walk over, nothing happens.
And then I just appear behind you, Vala.
Ah,
I think you're kind of translucent while you do it, though, right? Like people can still see you.
I do I am.
It's essentially a one round use of the etherealness spell, and that says creatures that aren't on the ethereal plane can't perceive you and can't
okay.
interact with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, you're just sitting there, and then suddenly, behind you, a wild Argenta appears.
okay. 10, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Huzzah. Okay.
By the way, take inspiration for that Argenta because that was brilliant.
Ugh, I save it for when it's useful.
All right. I want to look down with Argenta here, I want to look down that little hallway thing
Yes.
to see where that leads.
What is your dark vision range?
60, right?
60 feet.
60 feet, okay. Just needed to make sure you could see all the way. So you see it goes down almost about 50 feet and then another right turn.
Okay. All right, Argenta, I know you're very strong and we probably don't need to do this, but it'll only take 10 minutes.
Mhm.
I'm going to cast Liamon's Tiny Hut with you on the outside of it, just down that hallway, and you can't pass through it.
Mhm.
We just tie the rope to you.
Fair point.
That is ingenious.
Yeah.
She'll tie the rope to herself and then take a step back.
Yep. And I will let everybody else pass through.
Okay. So you guys have an anchor point that's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to be super comfortable for Argenta if there's suddenly large amounts of weight being pulled, but Argenta's strong.
Argenta is strong.
So you've got that. How do the other two people want to get over here?
If we tie ropes to ourselves and then push me, pull you with the rope, I'm hoping. But we're both gonna have to go at the same time because I don't think we have enough rope to.
I mean, I can do it.
So,
I can do it too.
so really the only one that needs to come through is Relwyn.
Yeah.
And personally, I don't think Relwyn has enough holes. So maybe a little tenderizing would be better.
Yeah, you want the cleric to use the healing spells on himself and not anyone else.
I do. I don't know about the rest of the party, but I personally think that's a great idea.
Again, we can tie the rope to we can tie the ropes around our waists and.
Yeah, I mean, there's 50 foot of wall, and the ceiling is 50 foot away. Well, no. So, all right, so if this is a localized gravity field, you would start falling up, but then the rope would catch you and you would start to swing. And if you fall outside the gravity field, then you would just fall down onto the floor.
I'm
Trigger another trap, and
well,
swing, fall. Each time, just falling a little bit higher.
I don't do it.
how is Rowan?
How
How tall?
How tall? Let's see if I actually wrote that down. Cause usually I do put that in.
I mean, what race are you again? Are you
Tiefling.
Tiefling?
5'11".
I was about to say they're roughly the same height as humans. So.
Yeah, 5'11".
I mean, the sad thing is if I was back over there, I could just use Dimension Door to bring Relwyn over, but unfortunately, I only have one spell slot to cast that.
Again, if I tie the rope around my waist, as an example, and then, or even both of us we tie it around our waist, and we just work our way along. I'm hoping with assistance. I'm hoping the worst case scenario is we just get yanked up temporarily, which was the whole intent I thought we were trying to do with you in the first place.
Yeah, all right. Well, we have an immovable anchor, so let's try it.
Rowan will start tying the rope around his waist. I don't know if Lillian will want to do that as well.
No, I see what Jackson done. I think gonna do what she did.
Okay.
Yeah, I can go in cereal too.
Oh, you can do that too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, Relwyn, why don't you go ahead and start putting your piece on the map and moving it?
Okay. And he'll just has that rope tied around his waist, and he's just, okay, I'm coming across. Actually, there. Takes a step there.
Nothing happens.
He's holding onto the rope.
Okay.
Vala is attempting to reel him in.
Okay. Another step.
How long is it? Oh, sorry. I was going to ask. I was curious. How long has it been since the first one went off?
As in time?
Yeah.
A little while. It took Vala, since she was only able to move 10 feet per turn. It would have taken her the better part of like a minute and a half, 2 minutes to get over there. And then with all the conversation, let's say 10, 15 minutes had passed in game time.
Yeah, I was going to say the Lehman's Tiny Hut would be 10 minutes.
Oh, then add another 10 onto that. So maybe 20, 25 minutes have passed.
Okay. So more than enough time for the thing to get activated again.
So as you take your as you step onto that tile there, you suddenly feel your stomach lurch, and you look down to see the ceiling below you for some odd reason, and you start falling. However, as you get about 30 feet in the air, you suddenly feel pop, and you start swinging a little bit because your pivot point is over here. And damn it, I have the wrong thing. There we go. And you swing to about here before you feel gravity switch again, and you plummet.
How far am I falling?
About 25 feet. So you only take 6 points of bludgeoning damage as you hit the ground there.
Ah!
Are you okay?
Relatively.
Okay.
You want to continue moving?
If I'm coming across again, please pull the rope very taut.
Yep. I'm grabbing the rope, pulling.
I don't want to do that again.
So you can start moving whenever you would like to.
That's legitimately there. I'm not doing that to be pissy. I'm actually like marking spots.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
Notes are good. And then Vala's a little bit in your way at this particular point in time, but you can kind of squeeze in there without too much difficulty. And then
Excuse me, I'm gonna guess we need to make. Or sorry, is Lilliane already over here?
yeah, well, her token's already here, so I assume I was just gonna
Okay.
say Lily.
Yeah, I probably would have. As soon as I realized what I was doing there, it would have been like, give it answer to that, and
Just make sure to mark off one use of that ability.
yeah.
So you guys are all here, and you can see the hallway keeps going down. What do y'all want to do?
Whoever's capable may want to check for traps as we're going down here. This feels like a very lovely setup for a nice long hallway.
It does, doesn't it?
Unless,
Well,
unless we're checking for doors along the way as well.
Probably not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I would say, Relwyn, if you wouldn't mind, can you just make sure I'm not infected again from when I hit as an octopus?
Well, interesting question. So when she got stabbed and she took the damage, was she still impaled when she went down?
So the stabbing damage happened as an octopus.
Yeah.
'Cause the stabbing damage all happened as once. There was some bleed over of the damage, but she was stabbed as an octopus.
Okay.
So I will say that when the polymorph failed, or when the polymorph ended, part of kind of transforming back, if there was anything stuck in you, would have been stuck in the octopus, not you.
Okay.
So kind of looking over at everything, you don't see any puncture marks.
I mean, you still took damage, so I'm sure you look fucked up. But...
Oh yeah, I'm only.
There's
Like,
bruises and cuts and that, but you don't see anything that looks like the wound she had before.
Like on a scale of 1 to 130, I'm probably at like a 72.
So what do you guys want to do?
I mean, I would take it right before, do you want me to keep doing it? Or does someone else want to?
I'm good with you carrying on.
Right?
All right, so go ahead and give me intelligence investigation.
Okay.
He's so good at checking for traps, just disappears.
18.
18. All right. So as far as you can tell, you don't see anything that would kind of pop out to you as this is dangerous.
Right. And would I be to kid if I wanted to out of the door?
Yeah, that would I would you know what? I'm actually okay with if you want to use the same check for traps as you do for doors, that's fine. The disadvantage to that is if you right now, because you guys have examined how the doors work, if you just check for doors, you have advantage on the roll. But if you're checking for traps and doors, then it's just a flat roll.
Alright.
So if you're good with the 18 that you got, we can use that for both.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
All right. Then yeah, you're looking in as far as you can see. You don't see anything right now that seems like it's going to jump out at you. So go ahead and you can start moving your piece. still nothing as far as you can tell. As you step here,
Oh.
you suddenly feel the kind of familiar feeling of magic start activating. And as you look around, you hear a relatively familiar sound, the sound of a fireball exploding.
Oh.
But looking around, there's no fireball.
Okay. I'll get back to the group that I think what may have been a fireball, but I didn't see it, so keep your eyes peeled.
And the rest of you would have heard a very, very loud fireball explosion.
Technically, I'm still inside the tiny hut. I haven't dropped that yet.
Okay.
So, do we have any idea what direction it came from?
From where Liliane is standing.
Cause I just keep my head around the corner and see the sign of a fire.
Sure. That would be the wrong kind of reveal. There we go. So as you peek around, you can see the hallway curves for about 10 feet and then turns at another right angle. And you don't see any scorch marks or anything that would indicate a fireball went off. You do feel the ground beneath you kind of shift a little bit underneath your feet.
Okay.
As if there was like something laying on top of it, like a cloth or something.
Well, I will, see if I can find the cloth and
Yeah, if you reach down, you're able to find again the same kind of cloth as you've been seeing throughout this entire thing. And as you pick it up, you can see a depleted glyph of warding underneath it.
So it was a glyph of warding that set off a fireball, but not on the actual glyph of warding. This just
Yeah.
sounds like the most horrible idea ever. Like either a bridge just blew up, or there are monsters ahead that are somehow healed by fire.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of a trap. Don't like the idea of a trap that is triggered by fireball.
But you would think you'd be at home with that.
No, I like traps that are defeated by fireball.
It's a kind of trap that would be perfectly designed for Vala.
Cunning.
Keep moving forward and
Okay.
looking for signs of a fireball and I keep moving.
Okay. As you get here and you can kind of poke your head around, you see the hallway goes for another 40-ish feet and then another right turn.
Alright. And am I still not seeing the trap?
As you as you continue going, the walls themselves are getting a little bit darker, like just the stone color is getting a little bit darker. So it's getting a little more difficult to see if there was going to be a scorch mark. The stone is not going to be as discolored from it. But you're not seeing, like, a scorch mark also comes with soot. And so as you're going, you're kind of looking, there's no residue, there's nothing.
And I assume there would be some kind of like odor too.
Yeah, I mean, fire
Like a bird.
leaves a scent. And, yeah, you don't smell anything.
Right? I mean, assuming I don't see any doors or that, I can keep moving forward.
Okay. As you step, helps if I have the right thing. As you step here, you again feel the familiar feeling of magic. The hairs on the back of your necks stand on end. You suddenly hear this, and you hear the sound of a lightning bolt striking right where you're standing. But feel no electricity, aside from that feeling of magic.
Okay.
And all the rest of you, without being able to see, you would have heard a very large, very loud lightning bolt happen from the hallway over.
This is area about me having a phantom balance.
And you again feel that kind of shifty feeling underneath your feet.
I about does anyone have this magic that they can
I've got my wand that has one charge left.
maybe we should have you up here so we can avoid more standing out whatever.
Yep.
I can also do it as a ritual.
It's up to you. I know rituals take a little bit of time. I don't know is time an object right now.
I mean, fire, we don't know, but I mean, it could be. I mean, we don't know what the fireball and lightning bolt did.
If I could have time in a bottle.
Well, I'll crack the glow stick of the wand and
Okay. Because
start.
it is the last charge. I believe roll a d20.
Okay. I mean, it doesn't say anything. 17.
So yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
I've always kind of treated wands, if you use the final charge on them, there's a chance that the wand just won't be able to recharge anymore.
Okay.
So, is that not one of the wands that actually recharges?
This says it regens 1d3 expended charges daily at dawn.
Yeah. So, effectively, if you use the last charge, then
They normally tell
always
you,
a
but I don't know
chance.
if that's in your
that's
world.
just how I treat
Okay.
wands in
Okay.
general. So,
All right. Well,
I like to have some kind of thing to give you a reason why you should be careful in using some of the wands.
okay.
But it's
All
a
right.
nat 1 for it to not get charges back. So
All right. Vala is going to start
Okay.
slowly making her way, wanding the whole time.
you don't see anything as you get to the other hallway. You can see kind of a square of magic underneath Liliane that corresponds to just the cloth that's covering the floor, and then
Okay.
again beneath it is a spent glyph of warding, but it doesn't glow under your wand because all the magic is spent.
And does it look? I probably show the glyph of fireball because I'd probably be very familiar with that. But anything look odd about the glyph?
If you want to roll an Arcana check,
I would.
you can try and see if you can interpret what spell was crafted into it.
23.
23. Not a spell you've seen in a long time. And I have to make sure this is still a spell in 5th edition real quick. Because they may have changed what they call it now.
Hmm.
It's not. So is that... So, as you kind of look at this the thing, you realize that the spell that this glyph of warding is keyed to set off is actually minor illusion.
Hmm. This is just an illusion spell, guys. I think it's just meant to make you think that it was setting off a lightning bolt or setting off a fireball.
What?
But what's the point of that?
To scare us, to lure us into a false sense of security, to make us start second guessing ourselves,
Or the next trap is going to be the real thing?
or the next trap is going to be the real thing,
Yeah.
or
This
it's a type
is
of alarm.
why I wanted you happy with me as we go.
So, well, now that we know that much, I'm going to keep moving forward.
Yeah, I gotta keep moving as well. Flower season crop.
Okay.
I was literally about to say that.
I gotta
I'm get-
keep moving.
As you guys
Alright,
get
I'm
to
out.
that corner, you can see it curves again, and before you step on that place, you can see
Doop.
that there's a glowing square right there.
Alright.
I will cast Mage Hand to lift up the cloth.
And again, you see another glyph of warding. This time, the glyph of warding is active.
Okay. Is it illusionary?
I'm not,
'Cause I
because
think you can-
technically this
I think you can tell the
spell-
school.
No, well, you do know the school, but technically the spell that you would be getting the school from would be the glyph of warding, not the spell that it's
Mhm.
meant to influence. However, since you've already seen this glyph of warding before, you can identify it as one that's going to cast minor illusion.
Okay. I will just Vala will be like, oh, this is, and then basically I want to fall onto it.
Okay?
Oh, I lost my balance and tripped.
Okay. As you fall onto it, you can all feel the familiar feeling of magic activating, and you hear this blood-curdling scream of someone being tortured.
Mm. Vala will stand up and dust herself off and go, I was expecting that to be a little bit funnier. Torture is never funny.
No.
All right, I'm moving up to the corner again.
As you turn the corner, you can see that, and with your wand, you see there, 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 and there.
Okay.
Four
I-
squares that are glowing.
All right, guys. There are four lights here.
And how many you want about one of them is real?
Let's find out. I will
Vala, how many lights
mage
are there?
hand. There are four lights. There are
Wrong
four
again.
lights.
One is fighting and one is fighting.
So,
I
what's
will
the actor's name that played that dude? He's a character actor. He played the butler dude in Titanic.
Oh, Billy Zane.
No. Billy Zane was the boyfriend.
Yeah,
His manservant dude. He was the dude that played that.
David Warner.
There we go, David Warner. David Warner just suddenly appears and goes, Vala, how many lights do you see? In my really bad David Warner impression. There are 5 lights, Vala. 5. Sorry, what do you guys want to do?
That's okay.
It's one of the greatest
no,
Star Trek episodes ever.
It is quite awesome. I will use Mage Hand to remove the cloths.
Okay, so you can see 4 glyphs of warding that they're there.
I will attempt to see if they are all illusionary or.
I'll say visually, you can only really identify the first 2 because they kind of glow, and because as they get further away, your kind of ability to look at them gets skewed just from the angle. The first 2 seem to be minor illusion. After that, you can't really tell just because they're too far away to get a good look.
Okay. So Vala will set off the first 2.
Okay.
You guys stay back. These are, I think, the first 2 are definitely illusion. Not sure about the other 2.
So as you step on the first one, you hear familiar sound of a cone of cold spell being cast. You step on the next one. The sound is so loud you almost expect the halls to start shaking, and you can hear rocks and other things falling from the ceiling. But nothing happens as you listen to a cave-in happen.
Okay. Take a deep breath and steady myself, and then look at the remaining 2 glyphs.
The 2 seem to be minor illusions.
Okay. Oh, I don't like how he says appear to be. I will step on I will step on light number 3.
Okay. As you step on it, a young feminine voice starts screaming out for Lillian, begging for mercy and for Lillian to save her. Lillian, you recognize the voice as Terrace.
Ooh. Alright.
Well, that's interesting. Apparently, we're being
Yeah, that
expected.
is pretty. So maybe it's expected.
And then I will step on the 4th one.
Okay. This time, you hear a masculine voice, a little bit older, that just screams about how worthless and pathetic Argenta was, and if she was a better mercenary, we wouldn't be dead, is the exact phrase. And Argenta, you recognize the sound of one of the members of your former mercenary team.
Yeah, try harder, but you're gonna have to try harder than that. I don't know if you can
Okay.
hear me.
As you go down
You
the
hear
hall,
that, asshole? You're gonna have to do better.
hit again. 10 feet. Makes another right turn.
Like
As you-
Avala's just running ahead now.
As you look, you can see glowing here and glowing here.
Okay. Same routine. Mage handed away. Inspect to make sure it's not.
Again,
Or
you can't
inspect
really
to make sure it's
inspect them until you get within about 10 feet. But when you get within about 10 feet of the first one, again, looks like a minor illusion.
okay. I'll step on it.
As you step on it, you hear the familiar voice of the club owner that all of you met previously.
Isadora.
Isadora, yes.
Ooh.
And as she speaks, this one is quiet enough that the rest of you can tell that someone's speaking, but Vala, you're the only one that can completely hear it. And it is a remarkably decently long, because it lasts for an entire minute. It is almost an entire monologue talking about just how pathetically gullible you have always been, and how much she used you and was disgusted by you, and just goes on for about a minute of that.
Yeah, you fucked up, buddy. Isadora would never say that. I mean, there are things that she knows and buttons she could press. Nah. That's just pathetic and sad on your part. If you think for a moment that that was what she would say. No. She'd talk about how I let down my family. I let down my friends. Not me being sad and pathetic. No. Ah, wow. You really are bad at this. Moving on to the last one.
And
Well,
as you step onto
Last
it,
one in this corridor.
again, you feel the familiar feeling of magic. And you hear a voice that you didn't think you would ever hear again. As the commander simply says, "My blood is on your hands."
That was just a straight up lie.
See,
did.
that's better. You have to put some truth into it.
He didn't even bleed. His soul got ripped from his body.
Touche. Maybe the blood is metaphorical?
Suppose.
I really like that response. The next glowing thing you see is right there.
Ooh. I will
Another minor
remove the
illusion.
cloche. Step on it.
Okay. That's the wrong way.
Wow, this minor illusion is darkness.
Really? I've done this twice now. There we go. This is actually a sphere of annihilation. So, Val,
Oh.
you had an extra character, right? As you step on it, you just hear the sound of a grandfather clock ringing. Dong. Dong. It rings 13 times.
Hmm. That's interesting. 13 times. 13. How many? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is the 10th one. So there could be 3 more.
All it could be a reference to the council.
Ah, that could be 2.
And
Um,
the 13, I believe.
I think there were 13 houses. All right, moving down the hallway.
Okay. You didn't see anything else in this hallway, by the way.
Okay. Go into the corner.
As you go there, again, it turns, and right there, you see another square of glowiness.
All right, moving the cloth.
Again, appears to be another minor illusion.
Stepping on it.
You hear the sound of smoke filling the room. And again, the sound is so realistic that you actually start coughing for a second with how many times you guys have had to deal with this just in this area. But again, nothing happens.
All right, looking down the corridor.
Nothing for the rest of the corridor.
Moving to the corner.
At the very corner here, another glowy spot.
Mage hand.
Another minor illusion.
And stepping on it.
You hear a growling sound of some creature that you don't think you've ever seen before. Whatever it is, it's very, very large. Probably has something in its throat. And at the very end of the minute, you hear this very large kind of howl come from it that's cut off.
Is that you, Stubborn?
Guys, we're gonna have to stop for rations soon. I'm sorry. It's I don't like how this corridor is snaking back and getting shorter each time. But yep, heading to the corner.
Okay. As you turn, yet again, goes north, makes a right turn.
I got my mage hand out. Nothing in the corner.
Nothing you can see.
All right.
Yet again.
Heading to that corner.
And you can see right here, there is another spot.
Okay. Mage hand removing the cloth.
Okay. Looking at it, you can see, again, it looks like a minor illusion.
Okay. Stepping on it.
As you step on it this time, can't do that. Damn. As you step on it, you again feel magic starting, and this time, this is a sound that it for you specifically, Vala. It sends kind of chills down your spine because this is a distinct sound you remember. You can hear the sound of the voice of the head interrogator from when you were the High Inquisitor, and specifically you can hear him interrogating Liliane's father. And this actually triggers a memory, like you remember this particular session. Like this isn't created. This
This isn't make believe. This is something
Yeah.
that happened.
Mm-hmm.
I will let the others know that that one was true. I remember that happening. So
And
he has.
anyone that's following close enough to be within about 20 feet of him would hear just the very extremely uncomfortable situation that it was. Like, it was a brutal interrogation, and Liliane's father is kind of defiant throughout the entire thing, but you can feel in the minute that it lasts, you could feel his will just get lower and lower. And at the very last 10 seconds of it, you can hear this kind of quiet weeping before it ends.
I don't know how he got that.
Yeah, you wouldn't know that theory happened. They visibly went. Yeah.
Sorry. God, I can't wait to burn this world down. All right. I'm advancing to the corner.
Hold, please, as I get this to work. Okay. As you go, you can see ahead of you, it goes up again. And
Okay.
right at the corner, there is another glowing spot.
Magic.
Another minor illusion.
Okay. Stepping on it.
As you step on it, you hear a very interesting sound because, again, you recognize the voice. It's the voice of Argenta. But Argenta is kind of screaming in incredible agony, and you can hear the sound of kind of flesh ripping and things like that. Argenta, if you're close enough, you're not sure you can pinpoint the exact memory that this brings up, but it happened to you enough times that you know this is effectively a recording of one of the times you were killed. This one sounding like you were ripped apart by wolves.
Was that 67 or 78? Not sure.
Well,
And then going forward, you can see two more, basically the two spots before you get to the stairs. Both
Okay.
have glowing squares.
Removing the cloths.
Okay. Both of them seem to be minor illusions.
Stepping forward.
Okay. The next one that you step on is another voice that you recognize, that of the sheriff. And this one is a conversation between the sheriff and the Bloody Fang. So what you're saying is, if I can lure them into your trap, you'll leave the rest of the town alone? Of course, that's what I'll do. Have I given you any reason to not to trust me? No, I'm just saying, you seem to be rather happy that you're here. I'm not sure you'd want to leave. I mean, I have no feelings for them either way, but I'd like some sort of monetary incentive built into this, and that's where it cuts off.
I would like to insight check that recording to see if that jives with my mental model of the sheriff.
Sure. Go ahead and make an insight check.
I'm going to use my inspiration
Sure.
to roll with advantage.
Okay.
Natural 20.
Okay. So, listening to it, you've become familiar enough with the sheriff that you think you could tell if he was lying to you, but listening to a conversation he's having with someone else is significantly more difficult, and there's no body language to go off of.
Right.
As far as the sounds are concerned, there's nothing that feels like there's any sort of deception in it. You personally have never heard him put a huge emphasis on monetary incentives before. But you also have never been in a situation where you would be paying him. Like, every situation you've had with him has been him asking you for things.
Right.
So, as far as you can tell, there are no lies that are outright stated in it, and there's nothing in it that seems demonstrably false to you, other than the fact that you've never heard him ask for money before, and he's never given you the impression that he's very money motivated. But the voice is 100% his. Like, it 100% sounds like him.
I'll just look to the others and go, I think it's a deep fake.
Well,
I mean-
even if it's not, can you blame him?
Could I blame the sheriff for making a deal with the Bloody Fang to throw us to the wolf, literally?
Well,
After the- I draw your attention to the quote, "Have I given you any reason to distrust me?" It's a lot of dead bodies. Well, we believe there were a lot of dead bodies.
A lot of people have gone missing.
A lot of people have
Yeah.
gone missing
No,
for various
I'm
reasons.
not saying it's true. I just saying if it's true. I mean, who did safety of the town? The alleged safety of the town over us.
I wouldn't
I
blame
just blame that.
I wouldn't blame him. I just don't think he's the kind of guy who would do that. I don't want to believe it.
No, me either.
Also, I think this
I
Bloody Fang.
do philosophical point. I would mention it.
All right, I'm going for the last one.
Okay. As you step onto it, you again hear a voice that seems familiar to you. As Relwyn says, "So I won't remember any of this." And the Bloody Fang, "No, well, not until I want you to remember. But we'll make it very easy to get you to infiltrate their little group, build their trust, and slowly get your tendrils in them. They probably won't even realize what you're doing." Back to Rowan. I mean, yeah, I understand that. It just seems like a lot of work for not a whole lot of payoff. Don't worry about the payoff. That's my job. You just do what you're told, implant the suggestions in their mind, and when it's necessary, I'll activate them. It's as simple as that. And you won't even realize you're doing it. Okay, I guess that makes sense. And that's where it cuts off.
You know,
That
that's,
doesn't
Yeah.
sound scared enough.
that's actually a really shitty idea. What if I just turn and I stab Rowan right now?
Guys, this is.
Like,
And I will put my hand on Relwyn's shoulder.
I'm all the way in the back, by the way. I'm
Yeah.
like, I actually have been keeping it in order somewhat, trying to, while I've been making the notes.
I would say
By the
probably
way, thank
you
you
would
for
wander
that.
up towards
notes.
the end of that conversation, and you would have recognized your own voice. It's weird to
Oh.
hear your voice from a recording, though.
but not at all sounding. I feel like how I would sound.
There
Like
was no
I don't think
fear.
this guy heard. This guy did not hear me talk enough.
Rowan, this is totally. I don't believe this for a second. And I'm gonna put my hand on his shoulder, and I'm just let's just calm down. Let's just think
What are
about.
you
And I'm
doing?
gonna spend a minute casting
What are you doing?
identify.
What are you doing?
And, I mean, Rowan, you're smart enough to recognize an identify spell being cast, especially if he keeps doing it for a minute.
Yeah, no, just calm down. We're just make sure. Just make sure it's gonna be fine. This is gonna come back.
Mm.
Not a problem.
Is he positive for...
As I slowly pull out the poison dagger.
Is he positive for arcane bullshit?
This is where this is like what you did at breakfast. No.
So you cast this spell on Rowan himself?
Yes, I believe that would tell me if he's under the influence of a spell.
Yeah.
Mm.
So remind me, Rowan, do you have met because you would be wearing them, it would also identify any magic items.
I don't think it would work like that on. Are you talking about? Are you casting identify?
I'm casting identify. You choose one object that you must touch throughout the casting of the spell. If it is a magical item or some other magically imbued object, you learn its properties and how to use them, whether it requires attunement to use or how many charges it has, if any. You
It's
learn
creature.
whether any spells are affecting the item and what they are, and if the item was created by a spell, you learn what created it. If you are instead touching a creature throughout the casting, you learn what spells, if any, are currently affecting it.
Okay. So, to my knowledge, you don't currently have any spells like you're just keeping up naturally, and you don't have any magic items that are kind of giving you a spell effect constantly. I don't believe.
Aside from the buff stuff.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, the amulet was gonna be the only thing. I mean,
Yeah.
there's the amulet and the shield. That's not a spell.
I would say because of the wording, yeah, you would just detect that Rowan is magical, but not under the effect of any. This is spell that you can do.
Like a Gaius, for example, or Gaius.
Right. Like I'm assuming like modify memory would leave a trace.
Well, modify memory exists. The reason that the memory stays modified is because the spell effect exists until it's broken.
It is a spell.
Yeah.
Right.
So if there was a modify memory and your identify spell worked, theoretically you should be able to tell, or Gaius, or
But no.
charm magic, and as far as you can tell, there are none.
Right. So I go back to my previous thought. The Bloody Fang is full of shit. And he's just trying to, scare us.
Have
then
we also
convince
noticed
us-
so many people are trying to? Why does everyone have a problem with me?
I don't know. Maybe it's because of all those fancy
and that-
high-level spells.
And out of character, this is just what Rowan knows. This is what Rowan knows because like there's still been shit people have said about Rowan that he's not been made aware of. This is just what he's going off what he has been made aware of.
I don't know why people have a problem with you, Rowan. You seem, I think you seem very likable. I know I like to.
Also, I hate to say this and maybe give corroboration, but if I were to mess with any of you, I think it would have been by poisoned by the food I make you.
Yeah, I mean, all you would have to do to kill us would just not heal us. So I don't really think. I didn't really think you'd be under some kind of an influence. I think Bloody Fang is just trying to rile us up by giving us, trying to scare us with the traps, and then trying to confuse us with his fake. Oh, Vala. Oh, we don't like you. Nobody likes you. You're not popular. You're not a great singer. Oh. And then showing us actual things that did happen, and then showing us those last two recordings. Why else would he, if you were a trap, why else would he try to alert us to the fact that you're a trap? Why would he try to alert us that the sheriff is behind us unless we're already at a point where we can't do anything about it?
Well, this is a minor observation. I was waiting until we got to the end of this. Next to nothing was targeted on me, except for this rather bad attempt. But he seems to know a lot about everyone else in some regard.
That's true.
At least your
Yeah.
at least your history.
I didn't even know Isadora was on this plane of existence. I was hoping she'd stayed behind.
Well, yeah, but he also is from. This is never not going to sound not weird. Your plane of existence.
Yes.
So he still seems to. By any chance, did he follow you? He looks at our agenda. Did he follow you into this, or were you already all in here?
So as far as I'm aware, the Bloody Fang kind of, not the Bloody Fang, but the Dark Lord kind of just sucked a lot of people into this world with blood magic, and he might have done so before in the past to others. So I don't know exactly the time frame as to which he brought people in here.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
we
Whoa.
most definitely know that he sucks.
Well, from my father that I do think a lot of the people had tied to us, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I mean,
So,
he
if
seems.
it would be that the bloody thing was one of them.
Yes, he seems. The Dark Lord seems to have brought people that had ties with us, whether they be positive or negative. Um, it's also the factor that this entire group got brought into this world at the same time, but we seem to have arrived at different times relative
Yeah.
to each other. So it's strange blood bullshit, let's call it.
That's why some of your people's family have been brought here, like Gala. So like that's why your family's here.
Yeah.
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 Before you, a set of stone steps.
Roland's just dealing with the fact that his world sucks so much. It's also used to hurt other people outside of it.
It's an impressive amount of suckage. But
Yeah.
ahead of you, you can see stairs that descend into darkness as they slowly kind of curve around. Unfortunately, that is where we're going to end it for tonight. As always, if you missed any of this, I do put all of these on my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/TrainerJody. Quick reminder, tune in Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific time to twitch.tv/Zelda Universe TV to see the premiere of a brand new RPG system written entirely by me as we do fun stuff this weekend. Otherwise, again, that's all for me today. I'll see you guys in the next time. All right? Bye-bye.